Hey everybody, it's your girl Bunny. Jay-Z pins a deal with the NFL. Some people are pissed off, while others say that this is a great movement and kudos towards change within the NFL. I'll review what others are saying on the internet, podcasts, and even some television shows. Do I agree? Do I disagree? That's all coming up next.
The Players Coalition, nevertheless, sparked what they called the Inspired Change Initiative, and that was when the owners committed $89 million to the African American and disenfranchised communities to help address issues that were permeating those particular communities. Having said all of that, we have to look at it from this perspective. I think when you talk about Jay-Z being involved, you talk about a voice being in that room that plays an integral role in influencing the National Football League and using their strong arm to assist and provoke change. In other words, you got them officially involved. They're not just paying off the Players Coalition or donating money to a cause. They've partnered with Jay-Z, and they're going to allow him to have a voice in that room when you're talking about things such as brutality on the part of some police officers against members of the black community, or various other issues that are going on in our society that Colin Kaepernick wanted addressed. Jay-Z is not the kind of person, and he's somebody that I've known for years, he's not the kind of person that's going to sit idly by, be quiet, and have absolutely, positively nothing to say. He's going to be willing to bring attention to these issues and to address them. And the fact that Roger Goodell and the National Football League has invited him into their room where they're partnering with one another to bring attention to some of these issues. And they've expressed a willingness to have Jay-Z assist them in using their strong arms in order to provoke change. I think that's a beautiful thing. It's something I wholeheartedly support, and I got a lot of faith in Jay-Z in terms of his willingness to bring attention to some of these issues that need attention brought to them, and to force the NFL to assist him in any way that they possibly can.
Look, on the surface, you can have a very cynical view of this, which is that the NFL is trying to co-opt social justice issues and Jay-Z sold out to them, and now that they've brought him into the tent, they have kind of protection against certain kind of criticism or protest that could affect their bottom line. And I actually don't have an issue with a cynical view of it, because the fact of the matter, the question is, what has happened? What actually happens? Often, economic pressure is brought to bear and businesses react. In this case, the NFL may react for less than pure interests, right? Just for purely self-interest, for business, for their bottom line. And who cares what pressure changed their behavior, so long as the behavior changed? I get that. So Jay-Z goes from the guy who said, who turns down the halftime show, this is widely reported today even, saying, you need me, I don't need you, to a guy who's now quoted as saying, once he struck the deal, as saying, hey, I can't control the world that we live in. But I actually agree with Jay-Z now. He can't control it. He can just try to contribute to moving it in the right direction and also make a buck as he does it. What's more American than that? And so this is kind of where we are now. If you recall the end of the film Casino. Ever see Casino, Stephen A?
Yes,
with
of
De
course.
Niro and Pesci?
Several times.
At the end of the film Casino, which is a fictionalized account of an era of development in Las Vegas, right? Mm-hmm. At the end, remember what the narrator said was, ultimately, what Vegas did, because they didn't want to compete with the bookies, is they brought the bookies who were taking bets inside the casino, and they wound up with a sports book, right? That's essentially what the NFL is doing here. We have competing interests here. We want to keep a huge portion of our fan base happy. No Colin Kaepernick. Bad. You must stand for the national anthem. We need to make an example of him. But then when there was a counterculture protest against that, saying, wait a minute, why can't Colin Kaepernick get a look? You're lagging behind on social justice issues. They also want to keep that portion of their fan base happy, and so they bring Jay-Z and Rock Nation into their big tent and cut a deal with him. So ultimately, where do I come down on all this, Stephen A? I'm glad that there's progress in that respect. I also can't get over the fact that Colin Kaepernick, it's not just that he doesn't have a job, it's that he's not being given a look. He's not been given a chance to audition, essentially, for a job.
Well,
he was, when last seen, certainly one of the best 64 quarterbacks in the league, and he's not. And the reason I think that's so important is it's symbolic. It's not just about their immediate bottom line. An owner is concerned that maybe there'll be protests against that team. It seems to me an effort by the owners to make an example of Kaepernick, and it's important for the sake of history that they not be allowed to succeed making an example of a guy by unfairly denying him work.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with that, but what I would tell you is equally important is that anybody who has spoken out against the National Football League at the time that they were flagrantly ostracizing Colin Kaepernick, even though some would argue that's still the case, if you're going to elect to do business with them in the future and you spoke out against the NFL in the past, at least answer the question as to why there has not been some level of insistence that Colin Kaepernick at least get a look. Because we've been addressing a plethora of issues that Colin Kaepernick assisted in bringing attention to. But lost in the source of it all is that people haven't been asking enough about Colin Kaepernick and his status and why he hasn't gotten a look. It's like he's the forgotten man in all of this, and he was the one that was the spark plug for all of it.
And here's the irony. The NFL can't kill Kaepernick because if they wind up making him. But even so, if he winds up being a martyr for this cause and he never gets another look, it will only empower his legend in future generations. Colin Kaepernick sacrificed his career on the altar of social justice, and then change came about, but he couldn't participate going forward. That will only strengthen the protest that he made and what he stood or kneeled for.
We're out of time, but as far as Jay-Z, this is so strategic because performing at halftime, you're entertainment. You're a laborer yet again. The NFL wins. Now he has a seat at the table. Now he's a partner. Now he has control and can really create change.
After turning down their offer for him to perform.
Yep, 100%.
Listen, yesterday was actually the 3-year anniversary of the first day Colin Kaepernick took a knee in the NFL. And for the NFL to make this announcement that they are forming a partnership with Jay-Z and Roc Nation on that day of all days, on the 3-year anniversary that Colin Kaepernick first took a knee, that they are now forming a new partnership with Jay-Z is disgusting. And here's the thing, and I told you that I was going to be real. Let me be all the way real. If you are my friend, my true friend, and I care about you, I can't be friends with somebody who has done you horribly wrong. I can't be friends with somebody who is actively doing you wrong. If you are my friend, I can't be friends with somebody who literally stole your career, is actively stealing your career. And if you saw the press conference yesterday, Jay-Z and the NFL commissioner, Roger Goodell, looked like lifelong friends. They looked like they loved each other. And we learned this morning that they've actually met 5 times over this past year, flying cross country to meet each other over and over again to make this partnership a reality. And I'll close with this thought. I was particularly disgusted to hear Jay-Z say in an interview that we're past kneeling. First of all, Jay-Z, you've never kneeled. You never took a knee. So when you say we're past kneeling, who are you? What knee did you take to be past? We're past kneeling. So you never kneeled. And saying that we're past it, to saying that we're past it, is a slap in the face, particularly of 2 brave men named Kenny Stills of the Miami Dolphins and Eric Reed of the Carolina Panthers, who are still kneeling. So let me rephrase that for Jay-Z. You're past it. Okay. you're past it. No, we're not past it. Because here's what I know. Families who've been affected by police brutality are incredibly grateful that Kenny Stills and Eric Reed are still taking a knee. And I tell you who else is really grateful, that they still have the courage in the face of so much blowback to take a knee. Colin Kaepernick. That these two brave men, Kenny Stills and Eric Reed, are still not just taking a knee for injustice and police brutality, but they're taking a knee for him.
I think we should partner with the best. That's why we're sitting here. We're partnering with the best. And so his perspective is going to drive us. I'm not going to sit here and talk to him about entertainers. He knows that business. What we have to do is figure out how do we support that and how do we make sure that we bring that to another level.
The NFL platform for us, what was exciting for us, Spire change was already happening, and the NFL has a huge platform. And we can use that huge platform we've seen it happen. Like when J.J. Watts, came the aid to everybody in Houston, the whole world forgot about all the turmoil they had with the NFL. Oh, that's a great thing. That's a fantastic thing. And if you can use that platform to do that in different areas, then it's a home run. That's the success. I think someone asked me what I would view success. That's the success for me.
I don't think either one of us expected that this relationship wouldn't have its critics. I think we're both I'm more used to critics than he is.
Might be 50-50 there.
But we knew that. But you don't let the critics or the negativity overwhelm the chance to do something really positive. And I think that was sort of both our views, is that, yeah, we know there'll be people who criticize, but we'll do the work, we'll succeed, and we'll make a difference.
Okay, I think we've passed kneeling. I think it's time to go into actionable items. I think everyone knows what the issue is, and we're done with that. Everyone knows what you know what the issue is? You know why we were kneeling? Okay, do you know the issue? Yeah, do you know the issue? Yes? We all know the issue now. Okay, next. Where are we moving on next? And I'm not, again, so to be clear for the room, I'm not minimizing that part of it, because that has to happen. That's a necessary part of the process. But now we all know what's going on. What are we going to do? How are we going to stop? Because the kneeling was not about a job. It was about injustice. Let me bring attention to injustice. Everyone's saying, how are you going forward? And Cap doesn't have a job. This wasn't about him having a job.
When they asked him, did you talk to Colin Kaepernick before you made your decision to partner with the NFL? Jay-Z said that he spoke to Colin Kaepernick. Well, Colin Kaepernick's girlfriend by the name of Nessa said that, yo, this is a lie. So let's read what she had to say on Twitter. She said, this is a lie. Colin Kaepernick never spoke to Jay-Z or the NFL ahead of the deal that's being done. They never included him in any discussion. So we lying now, Jay-Z? That's what we doing, cuz. Now, Colin Kaepernick, while the deal was going on, he took the time to post this onto his Twitter account. And he states, today marks the 3-year anniversary of the first time I protested systemic oppression. I continue to work and stand with the people in our fight for liberation, despite those who are trying to erase the movement. The movement has always lived with the people. He's absolutely correct, while throwing shade at Jay-Z at the same time.
That up for for the people. Let me read that real quick and I'll get to perspective. Let's go. Let the record show that the NFL edited all my questions to Roger Goodell. I asked Goodell, was Cap blackballed? And he said no. Owners can sign him whenever they want. I also asked him about people saying this partnership is disingenuous because Cap does not have a job. And I told him the best PR move the NFL could do is to sign Cap, but it's all on the cutting room floor somewhere. But this post isn't about me, though. It's about the conversation being had. Like I said in the previous post, Cap's protest worked and continues to work. Awareness is being raised, and after awareness comes action. In order to be successful and sustain any process of meaningful change, both awareness and action are necessary. I don't see why anyone would think Jay is doing this for any reason other than he thinks he can make a real change. He has not shown us he knows how to move in a room full of vultures. NFL, shady, it need to be taken over. It may work, it may not work. But why root against it when so many brothers playing in a league and communities they care about can benefit from it? If not this way, then what's the plan? We don't have to have the same course of action. We just need to have the same goal, but do not listen to me, though. I have on a paper plane hat with blah, 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 blah. I am with Cap shirt. Right now, I can't be trusted. Oh, God.
So as you can see, there are a lot of opinions from both sides. One side, or a lot of people are saying that, look, Jay-Z feels that this is a way to contribute to the NFL, being more aware, being more socially grounded, connecting with the people, not only for the players, but giving more awareness concerning police brutality. Jay-Z is saying, hey, we were at a point to where we kneeled. Now we're at a point to it's time to take action. And he feels that this deal is bringing the NFL closer to the issue, sort of as a liaison, making things better, right? Bringing that injustice attention to a large platform such as the NFL. So just to be a little clear, okay, let's actually read Jay-Z's role according to the NFL, okay? This is their description. According to the NFL, Jay-Z's role is to enhance the NFL's live game experiences and amplify the league's social justice efforts, okay? Jay-Z will also contribute and supervise over Super Bowl halftime acts. Take that and ingest that. All right, interpret it as you must. I'll read it again. This is Jay-Z's role according to the National Football League. His job is to enhance the NFL's live game experiences and amplify the league's social justice efforts. Jay-Z will also contribute and supervise Super Bowl halftime acts. All right. Moving on. So with that description of Jay-Z's role intertwining Roc Nation, of course, as an entertainment agency, okay? Here is where the hypocrisy begins, okay? This is where we have the split road of this endeavor. For one, the hypocrisy. Jay-Z clowned when Jermaine Dupri was in the same situation and signing a very, very similar deal when the Super Bowl was in Atlanta. We got to stand with Cap. This is a no-no, right? That pressure of being on that platform of supporting the movement. It was downed by Mr. Jay-Z when Diddy made public that he said, you know what? Why must we wait on the NFL? Let's pull together and make our own NFL per se. Hire our own people, make this change. Jay-Z said no. Doesn't sound like a plan. Jay-Z also made a big stance because he was with Cap. Let us not even perform at halftime shows. Jay-Z did have an offer to perform at halftime. But you had all of these other artists, right, that did not perform either. Cardi B, J. Cole, so many other people, Travis Scott, who received backlash when even considering it, Rihanna. And they did not perform because they were standing with Cap. We had this understanding, right, that we were supporting this movement. I shouldn't say we, but those who supported the movement, we understood that performing at such an event for the NFL wouldn't make a wise decision because we're trying to make a statement here. What also ruffled a lot of feathers, when you did this press conference and you sat shoulder to shoulder with Roger Goodell and you were asked these critical questions, you took on those questions as your own, as you're being perceived as a step and fetch it, as a I got this here boss situation that you didn't create, correct? Those critical questions from Charlemagne We're making this business endeavor. So Jay-Z, are you aware that Colin was pretty much blackballed by the NFL? Are you aware that players are still penalized for kneeling? Kind of giving that nudge to Jay-Z, hello. I would have turned to Roger and said, let's have Roger answer that. Let's have him give his insight about what the next steps are. That's what really had a lot of people like, oh, so you're handling those difficult questions now. It didn't seem genuine and it didn't seem authentic. Let us also keep in mind that it is in player contract for them to this day not to kneel, not to protest by kneeling. This is still current. Please understand that. Okay? A note to Jay-Z. Okay? There are how many owners? A total of 32. Please keep note that I'm pretty sure that you're thinking that this seat at the table will help move a lot of things. Okay, let's just say so, okay? To own an NFL team takes what? 10, 15 billion dollars. And even if you do have that cash, you still have to be voted in. That lets me know you're not at the table of decisions. Okay? You're not at the most important table. Now, he may think that he's striding up to that special table. Okay? But understand which table you're sitting at. They have chosen a very politically correct verbiage of what your role is, but you are an NFL party planner. Ha! How's that? That's exactly what you're doing. Now let's play like I said, let's try to view it from both sides. Let's say that you are making strides into making changes. Okay, great. But keep that in mind, it's still a rich boys club. It is literally a billionaire's old money, old racist money, tied down to that entire league. Tread softly and lightly, like a house cat. Another thing, some people will say, well, Colin Kaepernick took money from the NFL in his journey towards protesting, and Jay-Z took money. So what makes them any different? One went this way to try to make by kneeling, and his case was settled and he took some money. What makes Colin Kaepernick any different? I'll tell you how. Colin Kaepernick sued the NFL, okay, for his injustices that he faced in the NFL. So much evidence that it was going to trial. This case was going to be in a courtroom and tried. And there was so much evidence that he had showing that this is a peaceful protest. My job was jeopardized. I've been blackballed. So much evidence to where it was going to trial. I have no doubt it would have been a very successful trial. This is when I need you to put on your stay woke cap. Okay? Take out all the politically correct verbiage and let's just be real. Come on, come to reality. Do you really think that this was a solo, let me take this money and run? Like I said earlier, keep in mind that the NFL is owned by billionaires who have a lot of pull. We saw what happened just when a lot of people tried to sue for bringing awareness to those who have health issues from concussions and all of the things that they endure as players. And how that was put in a little ball in a trash bag and thrown somewhere. What is the progression of that? Are families still being cared for, or are we just sweeping that under the rug? A movie brought a little attention to it and then that's that? You mean to tell me that maybe there wasn't any threatening to his livelihood? That there wasn't any threatening to who he is, his family, who he knows? Come on now, let's think realistically. How many cases are thrown out? How many murders? How many things that heavy hitter big heads who own teams? Do your research. That have been swept under the rug by people who have money. Highly doubt that Colin said, "Oh, I'm just gonna settle. I'm just gonna take this." I think he was forced to take that settlement. Agree with me? Disagree with me? Okay? Here is why I think I'm right. After he took that settlement, crickets. Yes, Colin is still active within his movement, with his foundation, and everything that he's doing from his end, but on that public platform like before, woo, it's gone. So in those instances, they are totally different. With Jay-Z, there is a profit. There is a profit involved. Whether you agree with it or you disagree with what he's doing, it's money that's gonna go in his pocket. Let's keep going. I know a lot of you will make comments and say, "Well, Shannon, if you were a billionaire, if you were a millionaire, you're critiquing what Jay-Z has done." Okay? Since you know everything, what would you have done? Now, let me tell you how greedy this idea of what Jay-Z is doing. Okay? Now, he can do what he's gonna do. Clearly, he's already doing it. All right? But think of it this way. Could there have been a movement of change of someone of his platform and someone of his social status without inking with the NFL? Jay-Z, out of all people, you know what works is hitting the pockets. That was what a lot of people started to say. Let's watch less games. The NFL quickly noticed how millions of viewers stopped watching. And then they quickly noticed at that table that you're not invited to, that special room, they said people are not watching. Who can we call? What person is connected with the community that may be an influence to say, it's okay to watch the NFL. We've learned from our mistakes. Who can help us? Who can we call? That would be that greedy. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. And, I'm open for debate. What makes this situation, why it's causing so much just confusion and people are just baffled about why the sudden flip, is that you said one thing, Jay, and then you did another, and now we're trying to catch up with what you're doing and why you said what you said and why you're doing what you're doing. What I would have done if I would have been on such a platform? Let's commit to not watching for an entire year and watch the compromise and things change then. When you hit the pockets, that creates the change because it's not black and white, it is green that matters at the end of the day. And Jay, out of all people, you know this. But what this will create is more money in their pockets because, I'm a fan of Jay-Z. It's okay for me to watch the internet now. It's okay for me to watch, the NFL now. He's making it cool again. Yeah. Think about what's happening, man. You really got to open your eyes to the fact. Now, let's just say Jay-Z is in his role. Let's give the man a chance. If we're judging him wrong, let's give the brother a chance to see if he can really create change, right? We shall see. Every person deserves a chance. But what makes it super fishy and what gives everybody, that little tilt of the head and the side eyes, because, Jay, this is not the first snaky thing you've done. Not only in the music industry, ask Damon Dash and Freeway and everybody else, who have you ever worked with, that you've done some sneaky behind the door, backdoor stuff, purchasing people's masters to their music without their knowledge, and then when they find out and try to work stuff out with you, you don't know who the heck they are. There's proof of this. Things that you do and the way you move seem super shady. This isn't any different. Now, people who are gung-ho Jay-Z fans will ride on the coattails, and the minute he does something positive, see, I told you, this is something that needs to be done, and he's doing it. He's the only one. But another side eye to the NFL, out of all the people you could have worked with, if you really cared, if you really wanted to make a change, why no political representatives? Why not pick someone who has the bottom of the soles of their shoes worn for bringing awareness to this? You go to entertainment. Why? Because it's a win, double win situation. Money going into both pockets. A little PR cleanup for the NFL, right? We're making moves. We're making efforts. We've told Jay-Z, don't you people color, don't you people, excuse me, like Jay-Z. Come on, y'all. Come on. I need y'all to think about this. But that's what I would do. If it's all about the people and you got money, because it's not about money. Jay-Z, you got money. But everybody knows a capitalist's thirst for money is never quenched. I don't care if he had $1 billion. He's thinking about having 101 billion. Okay? Regardless of how many people it affects. It's all about image and painting this facade. It's the industry. It's a way of pulling a Jedi mind trick over your eyes into saying, well, what were we doing in the first place? He deserves a chance, right? He can make things better, and he's bringing more awareness. But the movement could have been done without you signing a deal. I mean, hate to say it, but it could have been done. It could have been done outside of the NFL. Could have been done outside of that, and you know that. But everybody has their right to do what they want to do, and if he honestly feels like this could make a change, kudos. And if he starts to make stride, kudos, great. I'm all for whatever helps my people. Because what, 90% of the NFL is us. What will really work is saying everybody that damn play, don't play today. And watch how many millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars are lost because we don't want to play. But we too scared to do that. No, let's ink a deal that says, it's Rock Nation. Ooh, the halftime show about to be off the chain. Don't forget your soft shoes. But let me just remind you, Jay-Z, in the words of Paul Mooney, I want you to remember this as you take your journey, right? Just because they let your black ass in the house, don't forget you a slave. What do you think? Subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any posts. Comment. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at that same profile name, officialbun_E. Da, 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 da. Yowza, yowza, yowza. Dee, 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 dee. Hova, hova.